So one thing that is important when creating a user experience is design integrity, and one important aspect of design integrity is design consistency when it comes to web applications. So your design for your components or your elements, they should look the same across different browsers. But this input element of type range tends to render differently in different browsers, or I would say in different rendering HTML rendering engines. There could be a couple of reasons for this, and I think one of them is because these different browsers, vendors, or I would say these different engines, they see it different. They see this particular element, they see it differently, and so what I'm going to do today is just make all of them that look make the design of this input element consistent across all the different browsers. I've seen cases whereby people have to go and do look for a package just to achieve this, and when you can just with few CSS lines, you should be able to achieve what you want to do. That is, make these elements look the same across the different browsers. So if we look at them in their default rendering states, we have this for Google Chrome, we have this for Mozilla Firefox, and for Internet Explorer it's like this, and then for Microsoft Edge it's like this. It is with this convention that we are going to style these elements. So according to WebKit, this part here, this line that runs across horizontally, is a slider runnable track, and then this one that we usually use to that we drag across is a slider thumb. First of all, we have our plain HTML element here. I'm just giving it a style of range input, and you can see we have it rendered here. There's no CSS written for it yet. So first of all, I will just give it a general. I will apply a general style for all of them. So dot, what was it? Input. I'll say width 400 pixels. It could be relative, it could be absolute, so it doesn't really mean anything. I'm just giving it a width. And then the first thing I will do is remove the default appearance. So I will apply this style rule, and I will set it to no. So I'm not going to go deep into this, but what this line or this CSS line is trying to do is like remove the default appearance for these elements. And when we go, you will see that it's already changing here on Google Chrome. Definitely, even on Firefox, it's already working. It might not work on Edge and its brother, sister rather, Internet Explorer. Okay, but that's the first thing, the first step I'm going to take here. And then what I'm going to do next is I'll start styling the different applying styles for the different browser engines. So I'll first of all start with WebKit. So let me just write a comment here, or WebKit. So range input WebKit. So if we go back to the diagram, WebKit sees this as a slider runnable track, and that's what we are going to do here. WebKit slider runnable track. Okay, and then we'll give it a background of green. We'll give it a height of 2 pixels, and then let's reload to see what we have there. If we reload, you can see we already have the background and the height set for this. So this is for the slider runnable track. Then the part of it that we are dragging across, it's seen by WebKit as a slider thumb, and so I'm going to apply the CSS rule for it. Range input web key slider thumb. So I'll say the background is blue, let me say red, and height 30 pixels, width 30 pixels. Okay, so one thing is when applying so for WebKit, if you are styling any part, because one thing this particular element is it's more like a component, so it's like I'll call it a combination of different parts. So every part that you are styling for WebKit, you have to apply this appearance CSS style and set it to none. Otherwise, this is not going to have any effect on it. So if I apply this, you see that we now have what we desire. We have this set to this way. So one thing you notice is when we start, after changing the removing the default appearance for this element, we see that the slider thumb, so I'm using WebKit's terminology, the slider thumb is aligned to the top. So on the horizontal axis it is aligned to the top, but I'm very sure you might like it this way, but I'm very sure that most of you like to align it to make it to be center aligned to the slider runnable track. So in order to achieve that, so if this is 2 pixels and if the height of this is 2 pixels and the height of this thumb is 30 pixels, if I want to align this one, the thumb on the track, if I want to center align it horizontally on this track, what I'm going to do is just subtract 30 pixels from 2 pieces. I'll get 28 pieces, and then minus 28 pieces, and then when I divide minus 28 pieces by 2, I'll get minus 14 pieces. Then I'll set the margin of this thumb to minus 14 pieces. So sorry, when I do that, you see that this is margin, top margin rather, not just the margin, sorry, it's minus 14 pieces. So we have a center aligned to this. So this one is for our WebKit. Then we go for Mozilla. So like we have it in our, let me just say for Moz, like we have it in this diagram here that I'm using to explain this. We are going to preface each of these styling with this dash hyphen Moz hyphen whatever. So Mozilla sees this in a different way entirely. So there is nothing like a track. I'm sorry. We have this. The whole of this is the whole of this is a track. So the whole of this is a range track. So the equivalent here on WebKit is this, the slider runnable track. So the equivalent here is the range track. So it cuts across this. If I come to my objects, okay, let me just hide it just to show you. You can see that it goes across everywhere here. Okay, so this is the range track. So we are going to style this now. So range impute web key, no, not web key, we are now in Moz, and Moz sees it as what? A range track. Okay, range track. We'll set his height to 2 pixels as well, and the background, sorry, to green. And then if we refresh our Firefox browser, here we have it. So still using this diagram, it sees this this one that we are going to drag across. Mozilla sees it as a range thumb, so we are going to use that here as well. Range. this laptop is a bit old and the keyboard are not in their best condition. Height 30 pixels, width 30 pixels, background so if I refresh this, you have it set here. So there's a little bit of some border radius across here, so I can remove it by just saying border radius 0, so that it's going to look exactly like it is on Google Chrome. So this and then this, you can see that they're looking alike. So this is for. So another thing you should understand here is for Mozilla Firefox, like I told you, the different browser vendors, or I would say the different browser engines, they see these things differently. So for most, you can still have sort of a progress. So what this progress is just as you move this thumb across the track, this progress extends from the beginning to wherever the thumb is. So let's just do it for let me just demonstrate here. So if I say dot range input, remember we are going with Moz range, is it progress? I think it's range progress, yeah, range progress, and we say background sorry, yellow, and then we come here and refresh Firefox. Sorry, there's a mistake here. I'll come and refresh Firefox. You see that this other part will be yellow. Okay, so as I drag it across, you can see that the yellow extends from the beginning to wherever this thumb is. Just notice that. Note that for Chrome, that is for WebKit, there isn't anything like that. So you can achieve that with some sort of JavaScript and CSS. But if I'm to do that here, it might make this video to be too long. So I'm going to do that in another tutorial, in another separate tutorial. Okay, so let me just get rid of this. I just wanted to demonstrate that for you, and you still see something similar in MS, which we are going to do next. So the next one is for MS. So this one will be for both Edge and Internet Explorer, although no one uses Internet Explorer nowadays. Okay, so if we come to that of MS, it's a bit different here. So the track, so if you notice, we've been using track, and track as defined by the other two from this point to this line that just goes across horizontally. So for the track here, the track is like more of a div, let me put it that way, div that wraps around every other thing here. Okay, so if you go to the way it's rendered by default here, you can see this line. The track is the whole of this. Let me go back to the diagram. The track, so you see this dotted square, this represents the track. So one thing you should know, that the track should be high enough and wide enough to accommodate every other thing here. Okay, this is because for MS we already have this fill lower and fill upper. So if you combine this fill upper and fill lower, you already have something like the slider runnable track here. So that's why this is serving a different, the track here is serving a different purpose entirely. So we'll start by say dot range build MS. So let's start by filling the lower side, that is the beginning part, like we have here, fill lower. Okay, MS fill we'll say background is green, height is 2 pixels. Okay, so the same thing we are going to do for the fill upper, so that they will be the same background at the same height. So we can apply different height here and different height here, and it's going to reflect, but we are going to use the same height for them because we want it to look like what we have in both Google Chrome and Mozilla Firefox. MS fill upper. Okay, background was wrong. Two pieces, and then when I reload for Internet Explorer, we have this green background. We have this you can see that the track is covering everything here, and the same thing you find on Edge. Okay, so now the next thing we are going to do is to style this part that we are dragging across, which is the thumb. Remember Edge usually is able to interpret some WebKit based that's WebKit prefixed CSS properties, and that's why you have this red color here. But for Internet Explorer, no, you are not going to get anything like that. So let's style it. So for range, sorry, I'm so tired. MS. So what we have here is thumb, right? MS. So give it a width of 30 pieces, height of 30 pieces, and then background of red like the others. Okay, and then I'll come and reload. So one thing you see here is it is because the track is not high enough to accommodate the thumb. The thumb is 30 pixels high. Okay, because the track is not high enough to accommodate the thumb, it's getting clipped at the top and at the bottom. So if we want it to accommodate everything, we have to set a height for the track. Like I said, the track is a bit different here. It covers everything. Okay, so we'll go with the range input. I'll go MS track. So we'll give it a height of 30 pieces. So it should be at least 30 pieces to cover everything. And if we come here and then we reload, we see that it is no longer clipped. The same thing for Edge, but there's a little problem with Edge. I'll come to that. So then, in order for it to look like the other ones, we have to remove these vertical lines here, and even this default background. So we can remove it by just saying background transparent, and then to remove the vertical lines, we just say color transparent, and then when we come here and reload, we no longer have this background, we no longer have that. So in order to remove this is actually a border, so we can also remove the border here under MS. Say border none. So as you can see, we already have, they are already looking the same. So there's a little bit, like I told you, Microsoft Edge is able to interpret some WebKit prefixed CSS properties, and from what I can see here, what is causing this misalignment is because of the margin that we set here when we are trying to align, center align it on Google Chrome. This margin that we set here to -14 pixels. So to just fix that, we'll go to the thumb. In the case of MS, it is MS thumb. We'll come here and we'll say just set the margin to 0. and that is going to make this guy align properly. Okay, so finally we'll be able to achieve this, making them we've been able to achieve the design consistency across all the different browsers. Okay,